Russia shows no signs of leaving Ukraine nearly 5 months after invading the country. The war has impacted countries on almost every continent. Ukraine and Russia produce 25% of the global wheat supply, but the conflict has halted much of that production. Food and fuel prices have been soaring around the world. The disruptions have worsened famine in Africa. The UN estimates the war could cause the number of people facing acute hunger to rise to 323 million worldwide. Former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, William Taylor, joins me now to discuss all of this. Ambassador Taylor, thank you for being with us. Before we move on to the reverberations around the globe, first, can you give me your assessment of where the war stands now, 5 months after the invasion?
Yes, John. So now in the middle of the country, in the middle of Ukraine, the Russians are trying to take these two provinces. They've been trying for months to do this. They've been concentrating their effort there. They were, as you remember, we all remember how they were defeated when they first tried to take over the capital, Kyiv. And they shifted to the center. They have taken land, Ukrainian land, in the southern part of the country. What is now going on is the Ukrainians are preparing, they say, for a counteroffensive that will take place this summer.
When you look at the reverberations of the conflict, let's start with NATO. NATO member states have now agreed to allow in Sweden and Finland. It relies on the legislatures in all the member states for that to actually go forward. But use that as a way to talk about or help people understand the nature of the NATO alliance and how maybe our conception of foreign policy is entering a new chapter here.
It is entering a new chapter, John. I think that's right. And I think you're right to point out that the decisions of neutral nations, Sweden, Finland, who have been neutral for decades, have now recognized the problem that Russia poses to them, and they've applied to join NATO for the first time. So NATO is now seen to be the source of stability and defense for the Europeans.
Give me your assessment of the Western or the anti-Russian alliance's pain threshold. It seems that Vladimir Putin is making a judgment, essentially, that thinking about things like record high gas prices and the pressure that puts on the anti-Russian coalition, that basically Vladimir Putin is making a judgment that he can withstand the pain more than that alliance can. How do you see that playing out in countries that are all facing these record high gas prices and inflation as a result of this war?
Well, you're right. The pain is mounting. The energy prices are going up. The effect on people who depend on the international market for food is strikingly bad. And so in particular in poor nations. So this Russian invasion of Ukraine is having effects all around. And you're right to look at the pain threshold. Now, he's facing a pain threshold of his own, President Putin. And he has to judge that. In particular, his economy is much smaller than the economies of those allies that are arrayed against him. They can withstand, and they are withstanding, and we'll see how long they withstand these higher prices. He's facing a real problem as well, and his military is not doing that well in most of the part of Ukraine where they are.
We've seen, Mr. Ambassador, 4,000 miles away from Ukraine in Sri Lanka, the unrest there, protesters swarming the presidential residence. Secretary of State Blinken said the war in Ukraine made the situation in Sri Lanka worse. Can you connect those dots for us?
That's the right way to think about it, making it worse. It was a bad situation in Sri Lanka for a long time. Economic mismanagement, the COVID pandemic had a very bad effect on many nations, but in particular on Sri Lanka, where the governance was bad. And then, as you just said, there is the effect on gas prices, oil prices, energy prices more broadly, and food prices. This came at a time when Sri Lanka was facing some real economic problems anyway. We can't blame it all on President Putin's invasion of Ukraine, but it exacerbated an already bad situation.
So if that exacerbation is affecting other countries. Are there other areas of fragility that we should keep an eye on in terms of other possible reverberations of the kind that are causing troubles in Sri Lanka, that obviously already had existing problems, but that might cause problems other places?
Absolutely, and you don't have to look farther than Europe. The Europeans depend on Russian gas to a great extent. They have realized belatedly the vulnerability that puts them. Russia's supply of gas to Germany, but also to Europe more broadly, has made them vulnerable to pressure. It's made them vulnerable to cutoffs. And they're looking at difficulties this winter in terms of the supply of natural gas.
All right, Ambassador William Taylor, thank you so much for being with us and helping us sort that out. We appreciate it.
Thank you, John.